Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Okay, let's join me in a warm welcome for our speaker tonight, Duncan.
Good evening. My name is Duncan Elkinson, and I'm an alcoholic and a very happy camper. Good evening, Playa group. Look at this. I want to be grateful first, because I spent most of my adult life being ungrateful. I was the type who could cry if pasta didn't come to the table steaming, you know. Many of you heard me of the time I accused a sommelier of baby rape for serving a Chateau Margaux a year or two too soon, I thought. So, I want to be grateful tonight. I want to start by thanking a kind and loving higher power. As Patty says, it's nice to have a higher power while we're on the road of happy destiny. I think it's even nicer for me to be reminded that I had a higher power who got me to the road of happy destiny. That I've had a higher power with me the whole time, both before and during sobriety. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that well into sobriety, so I want to thank my kind and loving higher power. I also want to thank our group conscience. Look at this meeting tonight. Back in December, we had to call upon that higher power who appears in our group conscience and find out if we had a Playa group. And I think that higher power said yes. And for a long time, I wondered if this new hour format would work. Tonight, I'm here to tell you it's working just fine, folks. You'll see when I'm mercifully brief up here tonight. I also want to thank our secretary, Terry, for asking me to share tonight. This is a home group. I've been on this podium before. I've taken cakes here. I've led this meeting. I've spoken here before. In fact, I tried to find when I spoke here the last time. It was over a year. I didn't have any out. I had to say yes this time. But I want to thank Terry for asking me to share, because it is a home group. We have to speak at our home groups. That's different from when we go out and carry a message to Pico Rivera. Someone asked me to speak in Pico Rivera once, and asked me if I knew where it was. I said, I know Pico. Sure, Pico, right. I knew I was in trouble when they faxed me a map. The car said you have now traveled 5 miles beyond any length. It was wonderful, but I never saw those people before. I haven't seen them since. You know, this is different. I see you people all the time. 5 people took cakes. I know them all. I know them all for 12 years. I live on the West Side. So, and I want to wish everyone a happy birthday. That was 60 years of birthdays. Yeah. Yes. 60 years of birthdays. Mike for 2 years, and Dina for 7. I didn't know you had gone to Ireland. I must hear about it. And Damien for 11. You're right, just a black eye? That was it? Just a black eye, and he has to go to meetings? Patty, 14. That was great. Patty and I have bumped into each other on the road of happy destiny a lot. And Don. Happy 26th birthday, big guy. That's wonderful. That's 60 years. Of no less importance was Paul taking that 60-day chip. And I saw you here as a newcomer, so you're on your road of happy destiny and you're here with us. That's great. Benjamin, thank you for remembering me when I had forgotten your name. Congratulations on sharing your 9 months with us. And of course, the most important person at the meeting tonight was that fellow way back in the beginning who stood up and said, my name is Max and I'm an alcoholic. Congratulations and welcome to the Playa group. things you think about all day long when you're getting ready to speak at your home group. You don't think about remembering to put the key in the pocket so you can open the door and make coffee. That you have to go back home and get. All right, you don't think about that. You don't think about picking up the coffee supplies you need until it's 5:30 and you have to be here at 6. You think about things like which way you're going to part your hair tonight, which tie you're going to wear, or not. I've got something halfway through. All my sponsors have worn ties of various quality. I'm happy to say they've gotten better about it. And I somehow still resent doing it. But I crawled into it tonight just so there would be peace in the family. But I will tell you what I did think about all day. And that was we. That's the first word in the steps. Our. That's the first word in the traditions. Because I spent so much of my life speaking about me and my. I spent all day long thinking about what was mine, and how me was going to get it right. And that didn't work. And when I was sitting there just now, as the minutes ticked away, it dawned on me again. All those people I just mentioned were we. All right? We get sober together. I've come to believe now we get spiritual together. That I don't get practically anything by myself anymore. That I have to be we. I have to be part of our for it to work. So I thought I would tell an amusing story about what it was like. I don't have any at the moment, because the truth of the matter is it wasn't nice. We remind ourselves with humorous events, falling down, or getting arrested, we laugh at them now. But at the time, that was just sheer hell. I called Don yesterday and said, "Is your birthday today or tomorrow?" He said, "It's tomorrow." So I said, "This is the anniversary of the last day you drank." And he said, "Yes." I said, "That's your first step." I want to be reminded of that a lot. So if I have 15 minutes left, I'm going to run my steps. Let's see how far I get. I changed the we to I, and I have to get honest. I admit that I'm powerless over alcohol, and my life is totally unmanageable. First thing I do is get honest, and I look at that last day before I got sober, and it was hell. And I was powerless over alcohol. I could not drink. That had been clear for several years. And my life was unmanageable because I had no contact with anything approaching a higher power. So in a first step, I've looked at my experience, my strength, and hopefully my hope. So if need be, any day, I can go back to my first step. All I have to think of is December 31st, 1986, the day before I stopped drinking, and get in touch with who I am and what I was about and why I'm here, because my life was totally unmanageable. Two, I came to believe that there was a power greater than myself. It wasn't me, that I was not the center of the universe. That was contrary to everything I had ever built up in my memory bank from the time I was a child. I was thoroughly convinced that the sun rose merely to brighten my day. And if it did anything else, like make the crops grow or, put sun on the beach, that was an extra. So a second step is an enormous attainment. I have to admit that whatever it is not me. Whoever God is, it's not Duncan. And then I have to become willing to surrender my life in a third step, piece by piece, grain of salt by grain of salt, every day. And I get to do that third step every day because I'm not ever going to get it done perfectly. But I'm going to try. I'm certainly going to try. I love newcomers doing their third step for the first time because I pull out my bag of M&Ms. I love M&Ms, but they also represent my life. Have you seen it now? They've got another new color. They finally did it. They got that gay lavender in, finally. Really? You know, that silly salmon is never going to make it. Never going to make it. But remember the last time they got the green, you know, there's that blue one came in? Yeah. All of those represent my life. There are yellows, you know, those are things that are sort of being a problem, like, you know, remembering to pay the phone bill on time or, you know, getting to work on time, yellow things. And there's green things, that's always money. There's always green M&Ms. You know, there's loads of brown. Have you ever noticed in every M&M bag there are lots of brown? So I guess I'm not the only person who has a lot of doo-doo in his life. You know? And then there's that new blue. That new blue, that has to be emotions. Has to be emotions. And the red ones, you know, those are the hot issues. Those are the things I would willingly give to God if I were thinking about it, right? Okay, those are the buttons, you know. Sometimes they're hidden now, but we got them all over. So what are we going to do with that new one, that lavender? I've been thinking about it. See what you think. That lavender represents our ability to have fun in recovery. Can we handle the good times? Because I had just a rough, you know, remember how rough it is to go to your first party, or to actually admit that you're allowed to have gifts from your higher power or from your fellow sobriety brothers and accept them? Remember when you finally begin to be worthy? Remember when you finally get everything taken care of? And, you know, I call it being a citizen. You know, I invite the new fellas, you know, to become a citizen. Pay your taxes, take care of that warrant, go do your 9th step, be a citizen. You know? Let's accept those, you know, those lavender M&Ms. So, that's third step. Fourth step, and tonight I dedicate my brief time with you to the fourth step. I'm in a group that's studying the steps and the traditions and the concepts, and what we're asked to do is to dedicate each week to what we're working on, and we're languishing in the fourth step. So I want to dedicate tonight to the fourth step. So it's just like on Sesame Street. Tonight is being brought to you by the number 4 and the letter I for inventory. I should have a drink of water before I tell you about my inventory. It was always hard for me as a newcomer to realize that my inventory did not include my ability to take your inventory. Right? That was the one my thing I got to do by myself. And it's incredible how much you can get back to each time you do it. How much you can dig each time you take an inventory, whether it's on sex or whether it's on money or whether it's on fears or angers. That in doing the inventory, all right, I can take a good, honest look at who I really am, and I'm now not afraid to do that. Now I'm sort of eager to find out what makes me tick. Then, however, we're asked to share that with someone else. Not the down and dirty, but the exact nature of our wrongs. All right? But I need to share it because I need to get a reaction, which is very important. Because by myself, I don't have any valid reaction to my own inventory. I can only validate my inventory process by sharing it with someone else. It's very important. And then I can do a step 6, which I thought was just one of those steps that kept 5 from bumping into 10. But as the 12 and 12 tells us, and I have reminded often, it's what separates the men from the boys. Anyone can do a step 5, all right? A mature, well-balanced adult gets to do step 6. Because then I have to be able to own all of that inventory and say I'm willing to get rid of it. That's 6, and I can ask to have it removed in 7. In 8, I can admit that I was wrong. Now, I used to think that if I promptly admitted anything in the same calendar year that I had done it, that would probably suffice. And you know what? It worked for a while. It doesn't work anymore. It's promptly admitted. As soon as I realize I have made a mistake, I have to do something about it. And that's not easy, you know, considering who I am. And 9, I get to find out it's okay. That I can be that citizen I wanted to be. What happens almost every time you do a 9th step, at least my experience has been, is you find, and there were a couple that weren't so pleasant, all right, but each and every time I found out God forgave me. And mostly I was forgiven by everyone around me, and I could just finally work on forgiving myself and get on with life. Step 10 is what I dedicated this year to, because I'm not doing it well. It says written, you know, I even have a form. I have a lot of them. Most of them are stacked up by my bed. Some of them get written halfway, all right? But what I've been working on this year is a 10th step, because I can continue to take personal inventory. A few years back, all of a sudden, a bunch of people got married and buried, and I had a whole lot less people to call and do a daily 5th step with. And I've worked hard this year to change that, so that I have people that I can call and I can say, you know what, I've been thinking about this, and it came up in my 10th step, and here's 5. And just say it in one sentence, which means you have to use 6, 7, 8, and 9 right away. I'm not perfect at it, but I do see that if I'm going to grow spiritually, I have to do a daily 10th step, and it, gosh darn, ought to be written. 11, prayer and meditation. The sun and moon of my recovery is prayer and meditation. Fortunately, I've been able to work on this year, and I'm happy to report I didn't have to do it alone. It wasn't a great year. Financially, physically, it just wasn't a great year, all right? But I didn't have to do it alone, but I was able to do it spiritually. Again, I'm not perfect at it, but it's getting to be where I want to go with it. And 12, I hope I have spiritual awakenings over and over again as a result of these steps, and can carry a message, because I can't carry what I haven't got. And have this set of principles, this kit of spiritual tools. Remember where it says, that simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. That's why we tripped so much when we were drunk, all right? Because it was in this big, heavy box right at our feet as we were walking to the bar, as we were running to the kitchen, as we were leaping to the bathroom. That was that big, heavy toolbox, all right? And they were tools there. They were the steps I've just talked about, the spiritual tools that make our program so great. Well, again, I want to wish the birthday people happy birthday, and congratulations to the Chip people, and I want to welcome Max, our newcomer. I want to thank you for letting me do my steps with you tonight. Thank you, you're very kind. If I were a cheap raw video, I would work the room for that. I have been asked to remind you that there is a very big cake which will be served with ice cream immediately following our secretary announcements.
Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control is connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.